Welcome to another episode of the Daily Chat Podcast, where we talk about all things awesome and nerdy. All right, everybody, we're bringing Dan Tundis back again. Hey, Dan. Finger guns.
Finger guns. Did you just give me the finger guns? Finger guns.
Finger guns. And today is going to be a minor twofer. First off, we're going to continue with spoilers. Spoilers throughout this podcast, actually, as the first thing Dan and I do is we actually finish our review of Disenchantment, because we finally finished it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was like, what, 10 episodes?
It was 10 episodes.
28 minutes apiece.
Wasn't that hard to get through. We got through
No, it
that
wasn't that hard to get through, but I mean, like, you know, did you expect us to sit here and drink beer and watch the entire thing? Studio audience?
I mean, I was hoping we would.
I mean, I got drunk and ordered Taco Bell.
That is true.
I did.
Mm.
Yeah. So we both finished Disenchanted. In fact, I went back and watched a couple of episodes that I was a little hazy on.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Budweiser. This episode also brought to you by Budweiser.
Okay. Seriously, I gotta stop mentioning names that aren't sponsoring me.
Yeah, because we'll never get that endorsement from Red Dog that we've been working on.
Right. Zima. I gotta get Zima.
I think Zima's still a thing in some parts of the country, actually.
Well, they're wrong.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, hey, who doesn't love a wine cooler? I mean, they were like the Mike's Hard Lemonade before Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Yeah, kind of. At any rate, so to continue on with our conversation about Disenchantment, I've seen some people online giving this show flack. I personally really enjoyed it.
I think one of the most astute and also no-duh reviews I saw of Disenchanted was Disenchanted is not Futurama. Disenchantment, sorry.
Yeah.
Disenchantment is not Futurama or The Simpsons.
Yeah, well, I mean...
And it's not.
But I mean, I wouldn't want that, to be quite honest with you.
But after reviewing the first 3 episodes, that's still what I was expecting, and I think it took me until about, maybe the 5th or 6th episode before I kind of caught on, and I was like, oh, this is just different. They're going for, long season story arcs,
mm-hmm.
where Family Guy, where,
neither of those shows did.
Yeah,
really.
Neither of those shows did. I mean, they were always episode in a bottle. Maybe there was a 2-parter. Futurama had some, movie direct-to-TV that they cut up.
The Simpsons actually had a movie.
Yeah, still.
Mm-hmm.
Which you can, if you watch it on FX, they pretty much just cut it up into 3 movies anyway. So
yeah,
4
exactly.
movies,
3 episodes.
However long it takes for them to fill out those blocks.
Right.
So, it's not that. It's a little different. And I think it took a little while for me to catch on to that format. It's not that I had to be, warmed up to it. It's that I didn't know that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So now knowing that, when I look back on my first review, which I think was still...
You were still pretty positive.
Yeah, which was positive about it. I kind of look at it now in a different light and been like, oh, okay, cool. They're experimenting with a new format and they're trying something else. When I said, and I remember saying this to you, after I finished it, I was like, it felt like, I mean, yeah, it's fantasy, but it felt like Game of Thrones-ish.
Yeah, almost as if this was a parody of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It actually kind of got almost that dark.
I mean, not even a parody, but kind of an homage. I mean, definitely to that whole fantasy genre. It's this is what happens when you grow up playing Dungeons and Dragons and RPGs and
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, and that stuff. I mean, this is
nope. I'm still not dead.
this is kind of the direct correlation from that. So I liked it.
I mean, she killed was that a genocide at the end? Does that count as a genocide?
No, because I think they could still be revived, so they're not technically dead. They're...
But, I mean, I'm just saying, was that killing that entire village of Dreamland, or that town of Dreamland, was that enough to consider it a genocide?
No, because
is that enough people? Is that enough people? Is what I'm asking for it to be qualified.
No.
Okay.
I don't know what the numeric value is and what the difference is, and I hope to never learn.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But I would go so far as to say massacre.
Okay, we'll go with massacre.
Massacre.
Okay.
But I mean, it's like Dark Souls 2. If you get the fragrant branch of yore, it turns people from stone back to, living. So they're not actually dead. They're just in, suspended animation. They're
I got you.
Like Ted Williams' head.
Yeah, exactly like Ted Williams.
Or all of Walt Disney.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
He's out there somewhere.
Yeah,
Isn't that just a terrifying thought that somewhere Walt Disney is just chilling on an ice cube? Just waiting.
What's he waiting for? I don't know.
Someone to bring him back.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. So for me personally, I mean, I kind of went into it with the. Excuse me. Hold on 1 second. God damn you, Budweiser. The most delicious of all burps. No, but in all seriousness, though, I kind of went into the series hoping that it wouldn't be The Simpsons or Futurama, just because, you know, like, I want something new, I want something fresh. I wasn't expecting a season-long story arc.
No.
But you gotta also keep something in mind, though, like, when both Futurama and The Simpsons came out, that was kind of the norm for back then. Now, like, we're in this era of television where if it's not like a season-long story, nobody wants it. Almost.
I will say one thing about this format, particularly for Netflix, and it's a good and a bad, right? Mm-hmm. Because on Netflix, you're able to binge through the entire 10-episode season and get a full story in like, you know, maybe 3 to 4 settings, depending on how you pace it out. Like if you watch 2 or 3 episodes at a time or whatever. But I think it does something to the rewatchability of Disenchantment. Like, I have no problem with, like, going to Hulu or whatever The Simpsons is on now, FX now, or whatever, so that way I can watch anywhere. And just, like, throwing on an episode and just, like, letting it play. You know what I mean? Like, I think the FX app pretty much has, like, a Shuffle Simpsons episode.
It does.
Feature. Right. And which I'm totally cool with that. Like, Disenchantment doesn't have that advantage going for it, which I find is a minus for, like, animated series. Because there's one thing about, like, South Park, Family Guy, Bob's Burgers, The Simpsons, Futurama, you know, whatever. Some of the comic book shows we'll talk about later, for the most part. Like, you know, Adventure Time, kinda. Like,
Adventure Time tied things together a lot, though.
It does, but a lot of episodes...
so did regular show, too. Like, I mean, I get how you would say that, but I don't think necessarily regular show had an ongoing story, but they definitely did have things that were referenced.
But the difference for Disenchantment is that, like, to understand the context, you have to have seen the prior episodes. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot harder to just, like, throw on any old episode and watch. Right. I mean, like, you can have like a few favorites, but I think it makes it harder to just kind of like the randomized play aspect of it. Mm-hmm. I still like it, and I'm excited for the next season. And
has that been confirmed, by the way?
I'm sure. Yeah. I assume so. I would say yes. I think that. I mean, I'm definitely going to watch the next season. I think it'll be pretty easy to just bomb through the first season again before the second season.
Yeah, this was one of the smoothest binge watches I've ever had, actually, for a TV show.
Yeah, I mean,
the only other TV show I can truly think of that.
It was short episodes and a short season.
The only other TV show I binged as quickly as this one was the first season of Daredevil, and that's saying something because those episodes were twice as long.
They were twice as long, and I think there was 16?
13 to 16, something like that.
Yeah. I also didn't sleep. In like the first season, because I am a huge Daredevil fan, always have been. Mm-hmm. So when that finally got announced, like, we've had this conversation. I still defend the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. That's how much I enjoyed Daredevil. Okay. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't good.
Okay.
But it was not as
bad.
So
long as we're in agreement, it wasn't good.
No, it wasn't good. Okay. It was not good.
It just wasn't as bad.
But it wasn't Nicolas Cage and Ghost Rider 2. Okay.
Fair enough.
Right.
Fair enough.
Okay. It wasn't the first Hulk movie. Right. I know. But yeah, no, that one I didn't sleep. I pretty much only did that. I think I didn't go to work.
Right.
I barely ate.
Right. I barely slept. I barely bathed.
I think I quit smoking for 40 hours.
I just remember I watched the very first episode.
That was before I actually quit smoking.
I remember it was like on a Saturday it came out, and I woke up a little earlier that day. I was like, oh, hey, the new season of Daredevil's on. I watched the very first episode, and my first thought was, okay, I need to get whatever it is I need to done now, otherwise I'm not leaving the couch.
Yeah, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for the future of Disenchantment.
Me too.
What was my initial rating?
I think you gave it like a 7.
Yeah, I don't think I would go higher than like a 7.5 for it. Like, I still like it a lot. There's some things that, for one, I wish we had a longer season.
Me too. I actually agree with that.
Because it felt a little like, especially the last episode, like so much happened in the last episode that it was like, that should have been 2 episodes at least.
Yeah.
You know, it would have been good to have, you know, another episode somewhere thrown in. So maybe if
something more to do with the mother. It would have been nice to know more about the mother other than...
It would have been nice to know more about Lucy. I felt like that was the one character I really don't know anything about. Like,
it really felt like...
Elfo, I feel like I know more than enough about. I don't really care about Elfo.
Well, here's the thing. Like, we didn't get the real answer, though, to why Elfo's green, which is something that would have been bothering me all season long.
Right. That was something you raised early on, and then, like, it got brought up that he's not actually
full elf.
Yeah. Like, he's something else.
Yeah, exactly.
That never got answered, and he's just kind of like...
Yeah, it really did feel like the last episode, I will admit, felt very baity. It felt like bait. A lot of bait.
Yeah.
Which...
You should give us a second season if you want to find out what happens next.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know who captured Lucy at the end, even though my suspicions is it's Una.
Yeah.
Because she disappeared for, like, all of the third act of that episode.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot, you know, you kind of got into the, what was her kingdom? There was the Dharma
I can't remember what they were called.
Dharma, something.
I can't remember the
Starts
specifics.
with a D. There's Dreamland and Dankmire.
Dankmire, that's right.
Dankmire.
Dankmirians?
Yeah, Dankmirians. Like, there was that one episode that introduced us to the Dankmirians, but then we never really got any follow-up from that. You know? I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna go with like 7.5. I think it was like it was a great show. I'm excited for the next season. I have my doubts about like the like rewatchability. I don't think it would be like the first thing I turn to when I need like kind of background filler animation.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Well, my initial review was an 8, and I'm not going any lower, but I'm also not going any higher either. I'm keeping it straight at an 8.
Well, I think that's fair.
Yeah, because I do want to rewatch it, because if it's one thing I know about those kind of shows, Matt Groening in particular, is they're very good at throwing in like the nice little joke in the background, or maybe there was a line that I missed or something like that. You know?
I think watching it with the subtitles on was super helpful because
like it is actually because
King, what's his name, just
Zog.
King Zog just mumbles the entire time, and it's really hard to.
Yeah, but here's the thing though: when he mumbles, like it's that's literally what it is. But you put on the subtitles, he actually like there's almost Shakespearean type of self-loathing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to do it for us on that one. Dan's giving it an 8, 7.5. I'm giving an 8, Disenchantment. That's the final review. So thank you for listening to that part. Now we're going to move on. Hey, Dan, do you like cartoons? Of course you do. We just talked about one.
Why, yes, Kyle. I happen to love cartoons.
Do you like superheroes, too?
You know what? I happen to be on this podcast quite
frequently, so I think that answer speaks for itself. Also, the huge collection of comic books and comic book media that surrounds me, and the fact that I am wearing an MF Doom hoodie, would very much confirm the fact that I do, in fact, love comic books.
Well, don't you like it when we're talking about superheroes, comic book TV shows, guys.
Yeah, that's the topic of the comic.
Yeah. I don't think we could have kept dragging that out for any longer.
No.
I mean, we also got the classic Spider-Man cartoon show on. Not the classic.
Look, it's Dormammu.
Yeah.
And
Mordo, yeah.
I hated the way Dormammu looked in this.
I liked it.
He just looks like he has alopecia. He doesn't look scary to me.
I mean, I think he looks a little bit better in this than he did in the movie, honestly, because when I saw...
Marvel vs. Capcom Dormammu is what I picture when I picture Dormammu.
I gotta go back and look at that, but... so, for me, when I saw Dormammu in the movie, all I could think of was, that's just Moses from South Park.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So, what we're going to be talking about today is the two big companies also happen to have animation departments. And when I say the two big companies, I mean Marvel and DC. And both of them have given us quite a slew of animation. Okay, that is actually pretty badass. Dormammu with a flaming skull with no neck.
That's how he looks in the comics.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm down with it.
Yeah.
But at any rate, so we're going to be comparing, or just having a discussion rather, about the two big companies and their cartoons that they have released over the years.
Yeah, we decided not just to do the movies because we felt like... We had this conversation and it felt like DC has...
If we did
so many more movies.
Yeah, if we did just animated movies, DC would just win by default.
I think that DC has way more movies, so it skews them in a way. And I also think, like, in credit to DC, although they've had, like, different creators over the years, they've also always had Warner Brothers Animation doing them. So there's been a sense of, like, congruency in style for the most part.
Right.
Like, there's some overlap in tones.
Right.
Whereas some Marvel stuff was done by Lionsgate, some has now been picked up by Marvel Entertainment, like...
Sony.
It's Sony. It's been like this big hodgepodge of like different creative houses and different, overlying production companies with different goals and objectives, like doing things that it felt. I mean, and that's all Marvel's fault for selling off so many licenses to keep themselves afloat. But thank you for staying afloat, Marvel.
Yeah.
So
yeah, now we've got these great movies that are the only thing keeping you afloat. Actually, that's not true at all.
Oh my God, no.
No, the comic books are keeping them afloat plenty too at these day and age.
The comic books aren't doing great, but they're doing better.
They were doing fine for a while.
They're doing better.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they're doing great. I don't think comic books ever do great. Like, I think that time for comic books is well past.
True.
Like, I don't think that you could ever say that they're doing great. I think that they are doing enough.
Okay.
To validate their own existence.
Fair enough.
Like, and to keep readers reading, Like,
yeah.
There's hardcore fans, like me, and you, that will continue to buy comic books no matter what trash they throw at us.
Exactly.
Because we're gluttons for
I can't wait for the sequel to One More Day.
Oh, God. Renew your vows.
I haven't seen that one, but you've done a better job of keeping up with the comics than I have. But at any rate, we're not here to talk about the comic books. So Dan and I actually happened to have this little discussion. Dan, you actually think that Marvel overall, the cartoons are better, don't you? Is that what you told me, or?
Yeah. So I mean, this was under the precipice of like okay. So this was before you threw like we're also reviewing like the Bruce Timm universe in here, because the thing about that is the Batman animated series alone,
right?
Like puts DC so far over the top, it's hard to argue against that. Like with everything else notwithstanding, like even with Justice League and Justice League Unlimited,
which were both good.
Thrown in there, right? Like, you had enough Marvel ammunition to compete. But with how good, with the exception of the last season, that Batman the Animated Series was, like, it's, like...
Even the last season, I mean, it wasn't the best season, but even the last season wasn't terrible.
No,
it was still pretty good.
No, it wasn't. It absolutely wasn't. And then when you start to throw in, like, Batman Beyond, and, like, Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, and you're like, oh, man, those are great. Like, those are so good. So I happen to think that, like, Marvel, like, when I think of, like, the big things in animation that they've done, with, like, the 1960s cartoons, which just gave us so many great memes.
Oh, my favorite meme franchise of all time.
And soundtracks, like, those are just a gold mine. Like, those are fantastic.
Well, how about we do this? How about we talk about the movies first, and then we go on to the cartoon shows?
That's fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
Okay.
Out of the movies, currently to date...
Hold on, and we're also going to count, too, the straight-to-home DVD releases, too.
Oh, you gotta.
Yeah, because there's nothing else, really.
Because if not, then what got a theatrical release?
It's
Teen Titans Go?
Teen Titans Go and Batman for Mask of the Phantasm, and then, like... Yeah, we haven't really had... Like, I honestly think, actually, now that we're talking about it, I think Teen Titans Go has been the first major release of a super... Like, actually, no, that's not true. There was Big Hero 5, or whatever it was, Big Hero.
Yeah, but I don't know that counts.
I mean, it was a Marvel property first.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that that's integrated into... I mean, yes, it's under the Marvel Comics, like...
Banner.
But I would say that's as much of, like, the current mainstream Marvel universe that, like, Marvel Zombies is.
Okay, fair
You know
enough.
what I mean? Like, that I think exists in its own little island. You know
Okay.
what I mean? Like, it's not like that got a cameo from Iron Man.
Gotcha.
Which would have made it a better movie. Whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Marvel has a smaller animation movie sample than DC does. I think DC just has a ton of them. So I think DC skews from like absolutely terrible to like really impressive. Like when you talk about like the Batman animated movie and Batman Beyond, like those are incredible. Where like Marvel has some like Hulk versus
Oh, those are great.
is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
The Doctor Strange animated movie I thought was great. Both the Avengers movies I thought were
You
great.
see, I actually just watched the Doctor Strange movie the other day. I wasn't that impressed.
I liked it. I mean, it's chintzy.
I mean, the animation was just passable. But the story itself wasn't that bad. I didn't mind it. It's just, I don't know, there was just something about it like that just rubbed me the wrong way. It was, however, better put together than the Invincible Iron Man movie. I will say that.
That one wasn't good at all.
No.
I mean, like there's some other weird, like Planet Hulk is
I
great.
like Planet Hulk.
Planet Hulk was great. I still think both the Ultimate Avengers movies were great.
Mm-hmm.
The Avengers Confidential with Black Widow and the Punisher.
I don't think I saw that one.
It's weird. It's like, this is what I'm talking about with like there just being like a completely different animation style, because I think that one was...
That was anime.
That was anime.
Mm-hmm.
It was done by Madhouse, was the production company that did it. And it's like this weird anime look, but like they really hit the characters like dead on.
Okay.
Like they really nail it in terms of like
Characterization and
what
stuff.
you would think of like a Hawkeye, of a Black Widow and Punisher.
Just
Like,
a lot of blood.
a lot of people die. Pretty horrific.
Because I know she doesn't have a problem with putting somebody down.
And then we're also getting Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
That I'm actually looking forward to.
Yeah, me too.
I
think that's slated to come out in what, October?
Yeah, and
Or
you
December.
know, and you know what? I still need to see. I actually still kind of want to see Teen Titans Go. I actually heard good things about it.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
Not for you.
I really liked the original Teen Titans show when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm. So did I.
But yeah, this just always felt to me just terrible. I've also always felt that like overall DC has no idea what the hell to do with the Teen Titans. Like they go back and forth so frequently, like between being like the edgy adult Justice League, kind of like tackling the topics in situations that like the Justice League is just too like clean cut for. You know what I mean? Like some of like the really like human elements of things. And so it's got like this whole like adult leaning like storylines. And then
fuck Batman.
And then oh god.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, they're like, look at this cute and bubbly animation that we got here. I'm like, what message are we sending here? Like, how am I supposed to look at these characters and through what lens? Like, am I supposed to like respect the adult Teen Titans, or like when they're just like the Titans, or are we going like straight little kiddish? So it's one thing with that property that I've always felt like has been bipolar, and I never really like could jive with.
I gotcha.
I don't know. This is my critical.
I mean, I personally don't have a problem with the show Teen Titans Go. I mean, I
just think it's stupid.
I mean, it's not better than the original series. I'm not going to go that far, but you know, for me personally, it's just I don't mind it when I see like the idea of. The basic premise of that show to me was always just more along the lines of what do teenage superheroes do when they're not being superheroes? More or less was the idea, and like to me that could be lean towards some very funny things, but I just kind of want to see how many jokes they make about Deathstroke not being Deadpool.
Yeah, but I feel like that's just that's just a note, you know?
Yeah,
like that's just a note.
Yeah.
I mean, but so I think that. Even though they have a limited catalog, I think that when I look at the Marvel movies, I think that there are more good than bad. When I look at the DC movies, I think that there are more bad than good. Okay,
well, what do you think are some of the bad ones?
Batman Ninja comes to mind.
I haven't seen Batman Ninja yet.
Yeah,
actually.
that was...
You know, maybe we could pop that one on real quick. After this.
Nope, I had to rent it, and unfortunately I'm not getting that money back, and I am not spending any more money on that. I suggest you look online. You can go ahead and watch clips. And,
Yeah,
it was pretty bad. Yeah, I mean, some of the bad ones, I mean, particularly recently, like Throne of Atlantis, Justice League, was boring as hell. Batman vs. Robin, I thought was dumb. Bad Blood, I didn't like at all.
Yeah, Bad Blood just kind of annoyed me. Like, my problem, and I just saw like a What Culture video, like the other day, talking about pretty much this very thing, is the problem with the DC animated universe that they've established that's supposed to mirror the New 52, which spoiler for anybody who doesn't keep up with comic books, the New 52 doesn't exist anymore.
No.
They went back to their original continuity beforehand.
Yeah.
You see, my thing is I do kind of agree with them when they said that all the animations... It was one thing when they first started doing this, where each movie kind of sort of had its own feel, and it had a different team behind it every time. Like, Batman was voiced by somebody different, and Superman was voiced by somebody different. Now they're just constantly getting the same crew, which, I mean, I don't want to insult anybody. I mean, who have they been getting to play the voice of Batman recently? Hold on. Batman, Bad Blood.
I don't honestly remember.
Jason O'Mara.
Okay.
I think it's Jason O'Mara. Yeah, it's Jason O'Mara. I mean, he does a fine job. Don't get me wrong. I like his Batman. It's just I liked it better when they would change the voice actors up because it kind of gave a different feel to it.
I mean, I think for example, like when they did Batman: The Dark Knight Returns with Peter Weller.
Yeah.
Like that for me is an example of just an absolutely fantastic animated movie, which I think does a really great job with the source material.
Yeah, I also liked it how when they would adapt it from a comic book or a graphic novel in particular, they would try and keep the animation style reminiscent of the art style.
They kind of do, but I would say against that, like Gotham by Gaslight looks absolutely nothing like.
No, it doesn't, and it's kind of around this time when they started changing things up, where everything looks a little bit more anime inspired almost. I get a very anime vibe from a lot of it.
It feels that or it blends into like the Bruce Timm look. Like they're still like riding that kind of look. I mean
they got him. Why not?
Yeah, I mean they do. Yeah, absolutely. But
it's kind of a weird like Bruce Timm meets anime.
Yeah, it's a weird amalgamation between the two. It's like something familiar but also yet something modern.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, the ones that I think are really good, like, I think that,
Flashpoint was good.
Flashpoint was great. I think that Justice League Doom was good.
Doom was probably my favorite out of all of them.
War was...
Okay.
It wasn't great. Justice League Dark was not good, and I was really looking... Because, I mean... I'm definitely a fan of, like, the darker side of comics. Like,
you are.
I definitely am.
You've got a huge Hellboy collection.
I have a huge Hellboy collection. I have a huge Dark Horse collection, which we're going to get to in a second. I'm going to get there, buddy.
All right.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about it.
All right, fine.
But, yeah, I'm definitely a bigger, darker side. And so I like Frank Miller things, and I like the darker side of, like, I like Alan Moore books, and,
Try to keep facing the mic.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
We've got Batman on TV, so it's hard to
I know,
pay
it's
attention.
hard. I just watched this movie the other day, too, by the way. Batman, Gotham by Gaslight.
It's pretty good.
Gotham by Gaslight?
It's pretty good. The way they keep the story intact from the original comic is decent. The one thing that I was super disappointed
I haven't read the comic book.
One thing that I was super disappointed on was that how greatly the art changed, because one of the things that, like, it's too bright. Mm-hmm. That's my biggest gripe with Gotham by Gaslight, because, like,
the movie?
Batman without technology in, like, the 1800s or
yes, the 1800s. They say it in
late 1800s. What makes that work is that it's really dark in London because they don't have electricity.
Right.
That's what makes that work. Like,
right.
As a superhero, like, if you can't quickly grapple away or, like, throw down smoke bombs or get in a car and drive away real fast, it helps if you can slip into shadows. And the one thing about this movie that really bugged me was that it's not that dark. It's pretty bright.
Yeah. I mean, that could be your TV, but... Yeah,
no, it's not.
No.
I can tell what contrast is.
I have eyes.
I know what contrast looks like. Okay,
right.
I went to film school. Thank you.
Sure enough.
Yeah, it's just. But I think there was some good aspects of this one. I think Justice League Dark was. I haven't seen the Teen Titans, Judas Contract, and the other one that they did.
Judas Contract. I saw it. It was okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything special, but it was okay.
Justice League versus Teen Titans is the other one.
I don't remember that one. I know I saw it, and I don't remember it at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But some of my favorite Marvel ones, though, you mentioned Planet Hulk was good.
Mm-hmm.
Which we never got a World War Hulk. movie.
That's okay. That one would be hard to sell.
I never read the comic, so
It's
I hear the comic's good though.
The comic's great, but it's the comic where the Hulk beats the shit out of
everyone,
out of the Black Bolt, and then makes it to America, and then beats the shit out of Tony Stark, and beats the shit out of Reed Richards. And that one would be hard to sell to a wider audience. Like, if you read the comics and you understand why the Hulk is that.
Well, that's the thing. World War Hulk is just a sequel to Planet Hulk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Hulk's kid gets killed because of the Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just want to go back and talk about how bad Batman Ninja was.
Go on.
It's like if someone who I'm so angry that they let this movie get made the way that it got made. Like and just from like a core character perspective, like it's like if someone who never watched or read Batman was described Batman and then was told to make a movie about him.
Well, first
16th century.
Well,
Japan.
first I'd call him Daredevil.
Right, that would make more sense.
Because that is still one of my things that I always have to laugh about is that the blind superhero isn't called Batman.
The most fun... Yeah, well,
it's funny. It's just funny. Let it go. Let it go.
It's fine. And, like, from inception, the most frustrating part about it is that, like, Batman is transported to 16th century Japan, but luckily enough, he still has his car.
I'm rolling my eyes.
Okay. His car also then turns into a motorcycle when it receives enough damage.
I'm rolling my eyes further.
But then his motorcycle then turns into a mech when the motorcycle receives enough damage.
Wait. Mech or exosuit? There's a difference.
Exosuit?
Iron Man has an exosuit. A mech is like Gundam.
It's a motorcycle that transforms into a robot that Batman drives.
Okay.
Mech.
Fine, we'll go with mech.
Because I think it like by core definition, like it would be too big to be qualified as an Iron Man suit. Like the Hulkbuster armor also feels more like a mech than it does.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So by using that logic, I'm going to go with mech. So not only that, but somehow the villains of Gotham are transported back to feudal Japan. And have developed the technology to turn ancient Japanese castles into mechs.
So is this isn't even intergang, right? This sounds more like a Superman plot.
I don't know what plot this is, man. I think even Superman would show up and be like,
I'm out.
This is ridiculous. I'm going back to Krypton.
Right.
It's 400 years in the past. They're still around.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Like, I can live out the rest of my life on Krypton with my family. We're good. Bye.
Yeah, later.
Like it's so absolutely ridiculous. And the most frustrating thing for me about Batman Ninja was that, like, Batman forgot how to be Batman because he doesn't have his gadgets. It's like if Batman doesn't have a cell phone, he doesn't know what to do.
Right.
Oh, but yeah, somehow Alfred still shows up in the past. He was there. And, like, the rest of the Bat family was there.
I'm raising my eyebrow.
Dude,
okay, honestly, like, that was kind of my...
The marquee moment, and I'm going to spoil this for you, and I apologize, because I feel like this is important. The marquee moment is when Robin befriends a little monkey, and then Robin uses a flute to summon an army of monkey that attacks the Joker's mech castle thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now if that wasn't enough, that attack's not going well. So he plays another flute, two flutes at once, that all the monkeys then form up to make a giant monkey to attack the castle. Mm-hmm. But then that doesn't work. So then the Bat Clan, which are ninjas who follow Batman, summon a second army of bats, which fuse with the army of monkeys to create a giant Batman.
Okay, can you just stop now, because this sounds way more anime than Batman to me. Like, I expect this kind of shit out of Dragon Ball Z, okay?
I think even Dragon Ball Z wouldn't let this shit happen. Dragon Ball Z would be like, nope, get out of it. Even Gundam would be like, no. leave.
Go home.
We are set in the future.
Go
This is space. It kind of makes sense.
Right.
Like,
go home, Batman.
you
You're
have
drunk.
to stretch your imagination a little bit to make Gundam work.
Right.
You look at Gundam and you're like, all right, it's about like 400 years in the future. We've got spaceships that can turn into other things, and there's a war because of it. All right, yeah, okay, I can follow that.
I can
logic.
swallow this.
Yeah, I can swallow. I can suspend my disbelief for this. This one is just an absolute disaster.
I gotcha. So you given all that information, I don't want to see that. You know what wasn't bad though was they came out with this a few years ago was that anime collection of Batman cartoons. I can't remember what it was called.
Like Assault on Gotham?
No, Assault on Gotham actually though. That one was actually one of my favorites out of all the Batman.
Assault on Arkham, rather.
Yeah. Yes, Batman Assault on Arkham. Yeah, I saw that. I really liked that. I genuinely liked that movie a lot. I feel like that's the Suicide Squad movie.
Gotham Knight.
Gotham Knight, that's the one. Yeah.
Gotham Knight.
Yeah, but Batman Assault on Arkham is actually...
Gotham Knight wasn't bad, but I felt like Gotham Knight had like there were good ones and there were bad ones.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just gonna go down the list right here, okay? And a lot of these I've seen and a lot of them I haven't. Superman Doomsday. There's a straight up Bruce Timm.
I like that one. That one was pretty good.
Justice League New Frontier.
Okay.
Batman Gotham Knight.
That was okay.
Wonder Woman.
I liked it.
I didn't see it. Green Lantern First Flight.
That was okay. It had some moments. It had its ups and downs.
Don't stop trying to sell me on the Green Lantern movie. It's not going to work. Superman, Batman, Public Enemies.
I like that better than the comic book.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Just for one very, 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 very specific reason. They cut out that part. In the comic books, they had this one part. Okay, let's start this over again. So one of the major plots to this movie and comic book is that there's a giant hunk of Krypton headed right towards the Earth, okay? It's a giant asteroid. What is kryptonite? It is Superman's biggest weakness, okay?
It's also a rock.
It's also a rock.
Right.
That can kill Superman. We're establishing that.
To be fair, rocks can kill humans, too.
That is very true.
Yeah.
But
People always forget about that fact.
Yeah, that is very true.
Mm-hmm. Like one of my weaknesses is a giant rock hurtling towards me at a fast speed.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that is true.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we've established that, everyone's weak to rocks, some way, shape, or form. Just like how it's not that impressive that the Martian Manhunter's only weakness is fire. It's fucking fire.
Wow. Well, Batman's weakness is literally everything.
Exactly.
Including cancer, old age, Alzheimer's.
Anything.
Yeah. Arthritis.
Diarrhea.
Yeah. Bring out the bat Pepto-Bismol. Do you think it's black?
Probably knowing Batman. But at any rate, so in the comic book, there is a sequence where Superman from the future shows up and says, "Way to let the Earth get destroyed by this giant hunk of kryptonite. I'm the only survivor." I'm like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that the only person who survived a giant asteroid made out of kryptonite hitting the Earth is you, and the rock was made out of your only weakness?
He went to the other side of the planet.
But how did everybody else die? The radiation...
Yeah,
the radiation killed everybody else on the Earth except for him. That never made sense to me, and the whole time, he's just all bitchy and moaning about, like, I'm so sick and tired of you, Bruce, like, you always beat me with those cheap shots that the writers gave you. He didn't actually say that, but that's pretty much what it is. And he gets mad, and then all of a sudden he runs out of time and gets flung back to the future. I'm like, dude, what the hell is that? Like, why didn't you just deliver the message?
Yeah.
That whole sequence just pissed me off. Whereas in the movies, they just don't do it at all.
That makes sense.
Yeah. That's why I like it better. And I also like... I haven't read the comic book, but I did like Superman, Batman, Apocalypse.
I like the comic better. I actually remember that comic very well. And I like that comic.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was something about that... Because that's when I was still buying...
Issues?
Yeah, I was still buying monthly issues, and that was on my pull list.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something about the drama of that one paced out over the course of, like, I forget how long that issue run is, maybe like 4 or 5 months, so 4 or 5 issues or so, something like that, 5 or 6 issues. There was something about the drama of that one that had me, like, really interested in that story arc for an extended period of time. And then as soon as that story arc was over, I stopped reading Batman and Superman because I thought it sucked.
Mm-hmm.
But I really did like that one a lot. So, I'm going to continue down the list. Justice League Crisis on 2-Earth.
Not bad.
Yep.
I liked it.
I like that James Woods played Owlman. I also like that Owlman got blown up.
Mm-hmm.
Fan of that. Because Owlman was a dick. James Patrick Stewart was... Wait, no, that's not. Oh, I was thinking Patrick Stewart. No. Batman Under the Red Hood. Good. Not great. Yeah.
Batman Under the Red Hood?
Batman Under the Red Hood was actually really good.
I think that's actually one of the better ones.
I take that back. That one's really good. Good comic book, too. Batman Apocalypse, we already talked about. All-Star Superman. Didn't see that.
It's okay. It's very fluffy. That's the best way. It's not in a bad way, because it's supposed to be like Superman. A celebration of Superman.
It's Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Green Lantern, Emerald Knights. I know that was an anthology film. That was like, it was like Tales from the Guardians type.
Oh, wait a minute. I got it confused. I liked First Flight. First Flight wasn't bad, in my opinion.
First Flight was the one where Hal Jordan gets the ring.
Yeah.
Emerald Knights is the one where they do the stories of like Kilowog.
Mogo doesn't socialize.
Yeah. What's that?
Mogo doesn't socialize.
Right. Mogo doesn't socialize.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Batman Year One, I liked. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
Justice League Doom, Superman versus the Elite. That was good, only for the sequence where Superman goes kind of crazy at the end.
Wait, which one?
Superman versus the Elite.
Oh yeah, that
where the one at the end where like Superman starts to go like a little nuts. It was super boring up until like that last scene.
Yeah,
I didn't like.
It's very Superman. It's very like Superman's taking the whole Superman route until like the very end. You're like, and you're like, you're actually afraid of. You're actually scared of Superman. You're like, oh my god!
And
like,
you kind of remember why
he doesn't do that stuff.
Yeah, and you kind of remember why like Superman like lets people. I won't say like get away with stuff because Superman's really not letting about people getting away with stuff. But Superman, you can always tell that he's like going at it with like kid gloves.
Yeah.
And in that, like at the very end of that movie, he's just like, "I just incinerated your friend because I can do that. Did you forget that I can do that?"
How about the creepiest part was he just uses both his X-ray and heat vision to
not lobotomize.
He doesn't lobotomize the guy, but he removes a part of his brain that gives him the psychic powers.
Right.
Yeah. And he just did that just by looking at him, like. Ugh!
Alright, Batman The Dark Knight Returns, I actually think was phenomenal because Peter Weller is awesome.
I mean, he did a very good...
alive. You're coming with me.
He did a very good Haggard Batman, I'll say that.
Oh, he did a great Haggard Batman.
They did... The one thing I do like most about that movie is they added the one line when Superman and Batman are having their little fight, and he goes... Bruce, this is idiotic. Superman goes, Bruce, this is idiotic. If it's not me, they'll just send someone else. And then Batman goes, who do they send after you? It's like, he's got a point there. Like, who do you send after Superman? There's a lot of them. Like, there's also a lot going down for Marvel too. Actually, a fair amount. Marvel's Rising Secret Warriors. I haven't heard of this one. Oh.
That's one with Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel. I want to say Squirrel Girl.
It hasn't been released yet, that's why.
No.
I'll check it out, I mean...
Batman the Killing Joke. Meh.
No.
I think we're kind of dancing around the subject of how bad Batman and Harley Quinn was.
We haven't even touched upon it, but yes, that was awful. I hated it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Suicide Squad Hell to Pay?
Yeah.
Okay. That movie, like 40 minutes of that movie should have been left on the cutting room floor. It's just...
And that would have made the movie, what, about half an hour?
Yeah, and it would have actually been tolerable. It actually would have been enjoyable because it was just... First off, they totally underutilized Tara Strong playing the voice of Harley Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
They made Deadshot look way too much like Christian Slater.
And it sounds like Christian Slater.
Because it is Christian Slater.
I know.
But then there was that whole... Did you see it? You saw it too, right? Did you see it?
Yes.
Yeah. There was that whole sequence when Deadshot leaves the Suicide Squad so he could go try and find his daughter, and then they bring him... Which led to nothing. He didn't even find his daughter. And then they drag him back to Waller, and Waller's like, you're lucky I didn't blow your head off. I'm like... No, you should have blown his head off because that's what you normally do, bitch. Like,
yeah, right. I know.
Yeah, and also too.
But plot armor.
But plot armor. Yeah. Damn you, plot armor.
Plot armor.
But for me, it was just also the mere fact that what's the phrase I'm looking for? Yeah, I like Fat Waller better.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I just like Fat Waller better.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Always have.
Yeah.
I much prefer Fat Waller.
Yeah.
There's something about that character
Yeah.
when she's drawn big that I don't know. It just feels like that's how she. It's like
That's how she's supposed to look.
It's like when Lex Luthor has hair. You're like no. Get out of here, Jesse Eisenberg. No. Like come back when you look like you've got again alopecia.
Alopecia. Fair enough.
Yeah, right.
Fair enough. But here we got. We've already talked about some of them here for Marvel. Hulk versus Thor: Tales of Asgard.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Kids movie.
Not
bad.
Not bad. Iron Man: Rise of Technovore.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I wasn't a big fan. I wasn't a big fan of that one.
Nah, it was paced out weird.
Yeah. We were Iron Man and Hulk Heroes United. I couldn't stand that one. I really, really, really could not stand that one because that one was just way too kid friendly.
Oh yeah, that one was bad.
That was just. You know what pissed me off the most about it? Hulk delivers the moral.
I know.
Hulk not supposed to deliver moral. Hulk
smash.
Yeah. Hulk where monsters drill. Actually, I didn't see that one.
So I guess I'm gonna go ahead and like kind of. I mean, now that I've like gone through the list and I'm kind of looking at all the Justice League ones and I'm like, okay, like pretty good. That one was great. That one was great. I can really only like cherry pick out like 2 or 3 that I thought were like bad, and they've been recent though.
Yeah,
that's the thing
because they've been quote unquote streamlining it too much.
Yeah, the more recent ones, like the further down the list I get, the more I find I'm like, okay, that one wasn't good. That one wasn't good. That one wasn't good. The early ones felt like they were really strong. And it's kind of confusing with the Marvel one because they're kind of all over the place. I'm like, oh, that one was good. That one came out in 2008. Oh, that one sucked. That one came out in 2009. Oh, that one was great. Came out in 2011. You know,
that one was and that one came out like yesterday. Like,
right. So it's kind of like all over the place. Like it's very like buckshot.
Right.
Also, like Marvel doesn't really have to worry about making good animated movies because they make good movies.
Right.
I think that's the ultimate criticism.
Right. Exactly. We're also at the 47 minute. We're about to hit 47 minutes.
All right. Well then. So
I'm just saying, like, we should probably also move on to the TV shows soon. So say what you got.
Well, I was gonna say I think that. So I mean, all right. So on the TV shows, like very quickly, I think that it's.
Or did you just want to keep talking about the movies? I'm fine.
No,
with that.
I think that with the TV shows, like I think I gotta hand it back to DC on this. As much as I love the X-Men TV series and the Spider-Man TV series, the one from the 90s, like, they really don't hold a candle to the Batman animated series, the Superman animated series. Not my favorite, but
I think it's aged well, though.
It's
not
my favorite because of personal.
You just don't like Superman that much.
That's it. Like, it's not that it's not a good show. It's a good show.
Yeah.
It's just not one that. But every once in a while, like, I'll see it, it'll come up on, like, Prime or whatever, and I'll be like, I could deal with a couple of episodes of Superman. And you get, like, all of those shows do a really good job of, like, interweaving other characters from the DC Universe that I do like.
You see, here's the thing. I always felt, up until Justice League, I always felt like the Marvel shows did a better job of that kind of stuff.
Oh, they definitely did.
I mean, one of my favorite episodes of Spider-Man was the one where the X-Men guest starred.
Yes.
That was a 2-parter, actually.
Yeah.
That was a great 2-parter.
The one where he grows arms.
What?
He grows extra arms.
Was that part of the... Okay, I think that was part of the same...
That was when his mutation starts going nuts. That's when he becomes the Man-Spider as opposed to Spider-Man.
No, that didn't... I don't think it happened in the same episode, but it...
No, it didn't. It happened like 2
It happens in that story arc, though.
Yeah, because he went to the X-Men because he was looking for a way to reverse his mutation, and the X-Men were like, dude...
That's not what we're about.
That's offensive.
It was also a very different kind of mutation, too.
It was a different kind of mutation. Not the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And there was also the... when they did the Secret War story arc. They did a really good job with that. I don't think DC, up until maybe even Superman, they did a very good job with the... Like, Batman never really had a guest appearance from any of the other superheroes except for the Grey Ghost.
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
I love that episode.
I think everybody loves that episode for one reason only.
Because it's super sad.
It's super sad.
They're all super sad!
No, that's actually one of the few happy ones.
That's true. Because it's all about Batman reminiscing about like when
a happy memory.
Right. And I love the Art Deco style of that. Like,
yeah.
I've always been a huge fan of the way that show looks.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, but there is one thing about that show where it is somber as hell.
It's Batman.
Like, but like still, even for Batman, like Batman can be dark and ugly, you know, like from like content or subject matter. But like, dude, like the Clayface episode, the soundtrack in that is like heartbreaking. Just the musical scores that they have, like going underneath that, where like, what's Clayface's real name? I forget.
Flint Mark. No, that's the Sandman, who's basically the same character.
Pretty much.
Where
he's like voiced by Ron Perlman, the great Ron Perlman. He's like thrashing around in the television studios, and he's like punching all the monitors, and he's screaming and crying, and they've got like that sad violin string.
Carlo.
Oh yeah.
It was either Basil or Vincent Carlo, because there's been a few people named. Hold on, fictional characters who have been named Clayface: Basil Carlo, Vincent Carlo, Matt Hagen, Preston Payne.
Matt Hagen.
Sandra Fuller. Was it Matt Hagen?
I think in this one.
I think Matt Hagen's the most famous. No, was it Hagen? Either way.
Basil Carlo was. I mean, yeah, that probably was it because they always ripped off of like old. Because it was a riff off of Boris Karloff. Mm-hmm. The film actor,
right,
who did all like the horror movies,
right?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think like as much as I love the, you know, and like Marvel had some really good recent animated shows like before they all got canned. Mm-hmm. Ultimate Spider-Man was good. I never saw the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I never liked. I didn't like Ultimate Spider-Man.
You didn't like Ultimate Spider-Man?
I thought Spectacular Spider-Man was so much better.
That's the one that I meant.
Yeah.
I'm amazing, spectacular, ultimate. Just throw an adjective in front of Spider-Man. We'll just, you know.
Assume.
Right. Ultimate Spider-Man. That was a show. Remember that? Where he went into space?
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
That was stupid.
It was a cool concept, and the art was cool. But yes, I agree. It was stupid.
Mm-hmm. They were trying to compete with
like,
Batman
even the X-Men. Like, I mean, when you think about it, like, so, all right, so since the 90s with the original Spider-Man series, we've had like 4 or 5 Spider-Man series with like varying degrees of success. Most of them bad. Mm-hmm. Since the original X-Men show, we had X-Men and the Wolverine. We had X-Men
like
Evolution.
That. I liked X-Men and the Wolverine.
Yeah,
Wolverine and the X-Men.
X-Men and the Wolverine was
Wolverine and the X-Men.
Wolverine and the X-Men was pretty good. X-Men Evolution. It was Evolution.
It was okay. It gave us X-23.
It was alright. It was alright.
It lasted like 5 seasons though.
Surprisingly long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There hasn't been like a ton. I don't think we've gotten really anything else from Marvel. Where DC, we got Justice League, we got Teen Titans, not Teen Titans Go, Teen Titans, Justice League Unlimited. You know, we got some. We got some.
Then there was The Batman.
Hate that.
You hated it?
Hated it.
I didn't mind it.
I just don't like the look.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and we got Batman: The Brave and the Bold.
That was okay.
You know what? It's good. It's good for cute little clips on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm.
When you just want to see the Batman.
It actually shockingly gets a little dark despite the fact that it was meant for kids.
The season finale is weird because they break the fourth wall and they recognize that Batman is in a television show about Batman. And that Batman is playing a character called Batman. And it's weird. So you're like, wait, he's actually Batman, but he's an actor who's playing Batman? But he's still Batman.
That sounds like they tried to rip off the series finale of Spider-Man.
I mean, I don't know when the original. Oh, that's when he goes in and meets Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
I'm pretty sure in that Spider-Man, with thanks to Madam Web, went to a different universe.
No, that's what it was. He went to our universe.
He went to our universe.
Yeah.
Which what are we? We're 1, right? And he's 616.
Yeah.
I don't know what universe that show took place in. It definitely was not 616.
No.
I don't know what the number.
No, because you end up meeting Ben Reilly from 616 in that episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben Reilly's still in the comic books now. He's all messed up.
I bet. I'm going to have to read that. I'm going to have to catch up on that. I'm going to have to catch up.
No one... I still don't think anyone... I mean, that was the worst thing about the clone conspiracy. Like, I don't know. I'm sure there are people out there who know, but I still have no idea if Peter Parker is the original Peter Parker. I legit have no idea.
I don't think anybody does.
No one does. I don't even think Peter Parker does.
Yeah, no.
And, I mean, that's been, like, retconned and redone so many times that, like...
yeah.
They acknowledge it happened.
One of my favorite lines from Spider Island was Mary Jane surrounded by a bunch of people with spider powers. She goes, "If we're doing the whole clone thing again, I'm out. I'm done. Like, I'm leaving."
Yeah.
So there is one thing we didn't talk about, which I said I was going to get to, which I felt like we didn't discuss.
Fine.
Which I need to bring up.
You want to talk about Dark Horse?
I do want to talk about Dark Horse.
We'll talk about Dark Horse then. Fine.
Spawn.
Spawn. I'm working my way through it.
Canceled before its time, was and still is phenomenal. Voice acted by the great Keith David. The man is a national treasure. National treasure.
I agree.
Yep.
I mean, I know him best as the Arbiter from the Halo series, but
Still not wrong.
He's
also the president on Rick and Morty.
That is better.
And
That's the best.
He's also the guy opposite Rowdy Roddy Piper in They Live.
That is
John
true.
Carpenter movie.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
He is also the father of the Flame Princess on Adventure Time.
He is also in some later stages of later episodes of Community.
Yeah, he was actually.
Yeah. Not his fault. Spawn. Awesome. Phenomenal. I'm going to put that on after this episode of whatever the hell we're watching.
Okay.
Finishes up. Because that shit is great. Also, I made you watch The Amazing Screwhead the other day.
Yeah.
That's on YouTube, so if you're still listening, go and check that out right now. Go ahead and hit pause, and we'll come back. We'll wait for you. Welcome back. What'd you think?
I mean, that was an interesting thing to me.
Paul Giamatti, David Spade.
And,
that wasn't David Spade. That was David
Hyde Price.
David Hyde Price, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say I hated it. It's just, it was very...
Mike Mignola,
yeah. I mean, you're more familiar with Mike Mignola. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I could see how his style works for comic books very well. I didn't think it lent itself very well to animation for some reason.
I loved it. I loved every second of it. I thought it was great. Also, the Hellboy movies that they did.
I haven't seen any of the animated Hellboy movies.
So good. They're really good.
I'm going to have to check them out. Well, I still haven't seen the finished Ron Perlman series of Hellboy movies, to be quite honest with you.
I'm tempted. Where are my DVDs? I'm going to give them to you right now.
All right, fine with me. I could use something to watch.
No, I don't. I think I have them digitally. Because I just destroyed the DVDs over so many moves and just letting so many people borrow them, being like, you haven't seen this? You need to watch it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd definitely be willing to check them out. I'll definitely rewatch it again because I was only kind of like half paying attention. I was like...
The Amazing Screw-On-Head?
Yeah, Screw-On-Head.
I'll probably go back and watch that probably once a year. Because I'm like, you know what I haven't seen in a while? The pilot episode of The Amazing Screw-On-Head.
Did it ever get picked up for any more episodes?
Nope. I don't think that they ever even made it. It's a miracle that it even exists online because as far as I know, it was never pitched to a studio in particular. Dark Horse made it with the intention of selling it to someone, but nobody wanted it.
It's kind of weird. It's very, you know what it kind of reminds me of? It's like if Monty Python and Robot Chicken had a baby.
That's weird. That's a weird combination of things.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it's hyper violent and weird like Robot Chicken, but it was also, very, kind of tongue-in-cheek and campy the way Monty Python is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way a lot of, Mike Mignola's, writing is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Hellboy delivers, some of my favorite one-liners in comic books, of all time. Don't mess with me, lady. I've been drinking rum with skeletons. You know,
What was the one you sent me the other day?
Does that monkey have a... Is that a monkey? Does he have a gun? Get down! Blam, blam, blam! If I ever get a tattoo, I swear to God, I'm going to get that, right here on the back of my arm. That's... I'm just going to get that strip, tattooed on myself. Because I happen to think that's one of the greatest, 3 panels that's ever been illustrated and written into a comic book. Does that monkey have a gun? Get down!
No, it's not even just that monkey have a gun. It's just, is that a monkey? He's got a gun! Get down! I've been drinking rum with skeletons all day.
Don't mess with me, lady. I've been drinking rum with skeletons. And he's just, got this pissed off look in his face with, a bottle in one hand and a gun on his hip.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dark Horse is the Dark Horse in this race in that I think, personally, everything Dark Horse animated has done is phenomenal.
What else have they done, though, besides Hellboy and Spawn? And Amazing Screw-On-Head.
That's it. So they've got a very small sample size of approximately 5 things. One of them was a pilot. One of them was a television show that was canceled after 3 seasons. And 3 of them were animated features that nobody watched except for me and maybe a dozen other Hellboy fans. So, yeah, I'm super biased in this, but I'm going to go ahead and say Dark Horse wins.
All right, fine.
They have nothing bad in their library. I can find bad things in both Marvel and DC. I can't find a single bad thing in Dark Horse.
All righty, and I think, you know what? I think that's the best note to end this on.
You didn't think that was coming, did you?
No, I didn't think that was coming at all. All right, I have one quick show to plug. I will leave the link for it in the description below. On Tuesday, August 28th at 7:30 p.m., I will be at Flappers in Burbank, California.
I've been there.
Yeah, it's not a bad place. Yeah. So yeah, I'll leave links
Good food.
to buying tickets in the description. And I will see you guys then. Follow me on Twitter, Kyle Daley Comedy. Same for the Instagram.
So the nice thing about Flappers as a comedy club is that if you don't want to drink, you can use your 2-drink minimum just towards an appetizer, and they're totally cool with that. And
Yeah.
if I can suggest their hummus plate, it's pretty damn good.
Agreed.
And reasonably priced, too.
Agreed. The cookies are pretty nice, too.
They have cookies?
They have cookies.
Oh, yeah. They do have cookies.
They do have cookies.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. That's going to do it for us today. Dan, thank you for joining us. Pow. And you didn't want to plug anything for social media, right? Nah. All right, everybody. Take care. Bye.